Hey everyone, welcome back to the NES Archive, where we're going to take a look at the North American NES library, one game at a time. Today's game was originally released for the NES on August 1986. The game is Gumshoe. Gumshoe was part of the Light Gun series of games. It was basically a platforming shooter, which is really weird. The tagline reads, "You'll have to shoot fast to get out of this light gun game alive." On the back of the box it says, "Jennifer's been kidnapped. Now's your chance to prove you're sharpshooting detective by helping Jennifer's father find the 5 diamonds that will pay her ransom. You'll use your zapper light gun to blow away anything that gets in your way, but even with the zapper, this case can be hard to crack, because not only are the diamonds hard to find, but you only have 24 hours to find them. What's more, you'll have to think fast and shoot even faster, because ferocious monsters, diving airplanes, and hungry man-eating sharks will stop at nothing to prevent you from getting to the diamonds. Think you're a sharpshooting detective? Well, you better be, because if you're not, it's curtains for you in this quick-on-the-trigger Nintendo light gun game. The developer for the game was Nintendo R&D 1, and the design team brought us games like Super Mario Land, Metroid Samus Returns, WarioWare games, Advance Wars, as well as Earthbound. The team consisted of the chief director was Satoru Okada, direction and design was done by Yoshio Sakamoto, programming was done by Toru Narahiro, and the sound was of course by Hirokazu Tanaka. In the game you don't directly control Mr. Stevenson, but I'll get to that in a second. Basically, Mr. Stevenson is an ex-FBI agent. He gets this ransom note for his daughter from a mafia boss named King Dom, and he wants you to bring him 5 diamonds, which is a really strange premise to the game, but it worked. There's 4 stages in the game, city, sky, sea, and then jungle, and each one contains a diamond for you to find, except the last one, which has 2. Mr. Stevenson moves from left to right across the screen, and you can't stop him, but you shoot at him in order to get him to jump. It reminds me a lot of the endless runner genre of games that we got on things like iOS and Android, though the levels aren't random and it's not endless. It definitely has an ending. I, of course, don't have access to a CRT screen, so because of the way old light guns work, I couldn't actually play this on original hardware, i.e. the right way. So in order to get footage, which you're probably watching now, meant that I had to use a mouse to shoot, which certainly takes a lot of the fun out of it. Basically, the way that you play the game is there's no controller except for the NES zapper, and if you shoot at Mr. Stevenson, he will jump, and you won't lose ammo. But if you miss him, you lose ammo, and if you run out of ammo, obviously you can't shoot him to get him to jump, and then you run into problems. Littered throughout the levels are these balloons, and if you hit these balloons, you get more ammo. So they're pretty generous with the amount of ammo they give you, and that was never really the issue for me when playing the game. Running out of ammo wasn't something I really had to worry about. Mostly just I was bad at it. So that's what stopped me from actually finishing the game. There's also obstacles like these birds that fly at you, and cars that will try and drive into you. Somebody's throwing booze bottles at you from off screen. And according to the manual, you are supposed to be able to shoot those things to get them to break. But I couldn't get anything to register when I shot except for shooting Mr. Stevenson. It's a really strange way to play a game, and I almost think it would be better if they would let a player control Mr. Stevenson with the joypad, and have a second player shooting at the screen to help get rid of the obstacles that are in the way. I think that would be a lot more fun as a 2-player mode, but this game doesn't have any 2-player mode. Computer and Video Games issue number 76 gave the game a 7.75 back in February of 1988. They said, "I could not put this game away. It is ridiculous. The play is very simple, but also very challenging," and I have to agree. It was definitely a difficult game. I did not even get finished with the first level. I just kept dying over and over, got frustrated, and set it down. The graphics, sound, and presentation are slick. you won't be missing out on a real gem. So they said that this is an absolute must for light gunners. I completely disagree. I did not find this game very fun at all. I will say this. The graphics are really, really good for its time, and I really like the sound design. Of course, it's got that same sound that we've heard in all of the other light gun games when you are shooting, but the music in the game is actually really good. So, of course, no big surprise that it was made by Chip Tanaka. All right, I'm curious if any of you ever played Gumshoe on original hardware, and if so, what did you think of the game? I think that probably the reason that I didn't like it myself could have been because I was emulating it and using a mouse in order to shoot instead of using an actual gun. I think that did really detract from my enjoyment with the game. So if you played it on original hardware, let me know what you think of the game in the comments section. Well, that's it for this episode of NES Archive. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.